Y'all, Twitch's widow, Allison Holker, has just found herself in some serious hot water, and it's all because of the messy tea she spilled to People magazine about her late husband's death. And now, Ellen DeGeneres has joined the group chat, clocking Allison for her lies, and y'all, this whole drama is one wild ride. So grab your seatbelts, because it's about to be an emotional roller coaster.
Hi, Twitch.
Hey, hi, Ellen.
How are you feeling right now?
Feeling all of the things, but I think what I'm feeling most of all is grateful and thankful that, you can see this atmosphere that is here, that has showed up because you also had the courage to step out and be your authentic self. So you've now created a place where not only these people come to watch the show, but everybody behind these cameras, the people backstage in the control room, the people with the guests right now, that you've changed their life dramatically, and everybody puts so much care into this show because you stepped out on courage, and we appreciate you. And I'm just so grateful that I got to be a part of this and be a part of this family.
Now, if you know Twitch, you know Ellen DeGeneres. And if you know Ellen, then you know how much she adored Twitch, not just because he was a huge part of the Ellen DeGeneres show, but because Twitch brought an undeniable energy to everything he did. He wasn't just an executive producer or a guest or a DJ, he was family. And while Twitch was alive, Ellen gave him his flowers, not minding the fact that she was the one who gave him a platform to spread all that love after Twitch had won a season of So You Think You Can Dance. And from that, their relationship blossomed into something much more than just fun and vibes. It was a genuine, deep connection that many people admired. And fans always joked about how if Ellen weren't married to Portia, and if Twitch didn't later marry Allison, they'd probably lock it down for life without a second thought. So, with all of that in mind, you can imagine how heartbroken Ellen must have been when Twitch tragically passed 2 years ago. It was devastating for everyone, but Ellen openly mourned Twitch in a way that even his wife Allison didn't. And honestly, that alone made a lot of people raise their eyebrows at Allison. Well, as the weeks and months went by after Twitch's passing, it seemed like the grief and confusion just kept building. And fast forward to just a couple of days ago, Twitch's widow, Allison Holker, is out here trying to capitalize on Twitch's death by selling a book that's all about his darkest secrets and deepest struggles, things even Twitch took to his grave. And this nasty move has triggered a massive backlash from both Twitch's family and fans. And now Ellen's joining in, calling out Allison for being insensitive and exploiting her late husband's memory. And let's be real, before Allison came into the picture, Twitch was already loved by everyone who knew him. He had built a solid foundation in the entertainment world. So when his family saw Allison's actions in the wake of his death, especially around the time she had everyone in Twitch's circle sign an NDA before attending his funeral, it raised more than just an alarm, cause what was she trying to hide? And why was she trying to control the narrative in such a strange, cold way? Well, I guess if you've ever wondered how a narcissist moved, then you have one right in our faces, trying to sell a false narrative about her late husband to make a fortune by soiling the last bit of good memory everyone had about him. Now, as y'all already know, Twitch died on the 13th of December, 2022, in one of the most heartbreaking ways anyone could have possibly imagined. And at the time, Twitch's autopsy revealed that Twitch had died from a gun wound, which he inflicted on himself in the bathroom of a motel called Oak Day Inn, where he had been found in a bathtub in a pool of his own. Now, that whole story has left a lot of people scarred for years, as it came as a shock to many because looking back, that was the last way anyone on Earth expected Twitch to have ended. But at the time, rumors making rounds on the internet had it that Twitch left a suicide note in the room, but the content? No one ever heard of it as it was left undisclosed by the cops. But y'all, as if the shock of losing a family member through that means wasn't wild enough. At Twitch's funeral, Allison made Twitch's entire family and his close friends sign a NDA before they could attend the ceremony, and the reason Allison made everyone do that remains a mystery till date. And as you guys already know, Allison is still being called out for that till this day. But y'all, making Twitch's family and close friends sign an NDA was not the first move that set off the alarms. In fact, it was actually more or less like the third or fourth, because the first was how Allison had acted when she discovered that Twitch was missing for a whole day. According to Allison, Twitch had been gone for a day, and he wasn't answering his phone, and it was while he was gone that she stumbled on his journal, where he talked about trying to quit using marijuana. And when Allison saw that, the first thing that came to her mind was that Twitch had checked himself into some facility to get help. But later on, Allison went to the cops to file a missing persons return like she already knew something was off about the entire situation. Now, in situations like this, people would normally first make a call to the cops, but Allison drove down to the station like she knew what was up. I mean, it looked more or less like a calculated step. But it gets worse. And just about 48 hours after Twitch was found dead, Allison was already on all her social media platforms dropping Twitch's last, and like that wasn't bad enough. Just a few days ago, Allison told People magazine that
it was such a beautiful time, but then the stories had kind of turned and changed. And there is some sadness I have for my children. And it's also really important in my healing journey that people start to see me as me without him. And it's really important for people to see my children as individuals without him, because that is the reality now.
Now, this demand that Allison was making from Twitch's fans had everyone really disappointed, and if anyone had a little bit of respect for Allison at all, it was all gone after that horrible interview, because what happened to protecting people's legacy even after death? And knowing how very considerate and thoughtful Twitch was, if the roles were reversed, he would have never asked for such from people or trivialized Allison's memory. But moving on, the non-disclosure agreement Twitch's family was made to sign made his entire family and fan base really uneasy about Allison and what her true intentions were. I mean, it's not every day you hear of people making their spouse's family sign some weird document before they can be allowed the decency of mourning their loved one, and before we go any further, it's interesting to know that Allison also made Twitch's mom sign off on the NDA. Now, I don't know of anything that sounds more disrespectful and insulting. I mean, picture this. You just lost your child to circumstances you can't explain right before his birthday and after his wedding anniversary, and in the next breath, his wife is asking you to sign some weird stuff before you can attend his funeral, all just so she can control how you talk, act, or even mourn your own son. Now, if that ain't crazy as hell, then I don't know what is. And like that wasn't enough clownery from Allison. The next moment, she's out here keeping Twitch's children away from their grandmother as if she's the plague that was sent to Egypt. But best believe that all that shady show Allison displayed wasn't left unchecked and by everyone who loved and respected Twitch. Now it's safe to say Allison messed with the wrong family, cause just as expected, a lot of fans came up with a lot of theories about why Allison had Twitch's family sign off on the NDA. And just like Twitch's cousin, everyone felt the reason Allison did so was because she was money hungry and probably thought Twitch's family would want to drag his assets. But of course, the story Allison told everyone, and even the children, was that she didn't want anyone randomly taking a picture of Twitch's corpse and posting it on the internet. Well, after the whole NDA funeral drama, word on the street had it that Allison cashed out big on Twitch's estate and she bagged herself almost half of what Twitch had to his name. And honestly, that spoke a lot of volumes about the kind of person Allison was and why she was even in the marriage in the first place. And just like Manny Cross put it, Allison was telling a lot of lies, and in fact, she never really loved Twitch, but she only married him because of some weird fetish she had for being with a black man. And after all the humiliation Allison put Twitch's family through, that seems completely true. And Twitch's cousin Elle took things further when she said, "It's insulting that you think we'd want a payout when we are hurting and confused just as much as you. You would think this should be a time to come together as a family, but instead, you exploit your husband after moving on with another man." Now, that was clearly a lot to unpack there, and if there's one thing that's coming to light now, it's that from everything we've seen Allison do all these years, it seems she had everything clearly calculated. And if y'all wondering how I know so, well, the receipts don't lie and they're everywhere on the internet, and it's really disturbing to see how just shortly after Twitch's death, Allison was already moving on and booking photo shoot appointments and posting herself like she didn't just lose a whole human being, and not just any human being but her husband who she was married to for almost a decade. And even though we've established that everyone mourns differently, Allison's style came off a little too cold. But on almost every interview that Allison jumped on, she was trying to gaslight fans by making them feel like the happy and loving personality Twitch was known for was all an act for his fans, and it was all of that that contributed to his alleged misery and depression. But hey, who was the one always making them make dance videos for views on TikTok? Or who was the one that was so obsessed with fame, money, and likes, and that even went as far as publishing a whole book revealing their spouse's secrets? And when Twitch passed, who was the one acting like it was Thanksgiving every single day, going on all kinds of interviews and entertaining different photo shoots? Now, Twitch's death is always going to be surrounded by controversies cause it's believed the whole truth is still not yet out, but in time, it will. And speaking of controversies, the last couple of days has been really hot on the streets of the internet as both friends, family, and ops have been coming at Allison with sticks and daggers for how she's handled everything so far. From publishing a book to coming in front of the camera to spill personal things about how Twitch was SA'd as a child to revealing that Twitch battled with addiction and was self-medicating is all a hard pill to swallow. And this whole situation caused a lot of chaos on the internet because not only did Allison violate Twitch's privacy, but she also shared what he carried to his grave with complete strangers, disregarding how that could make both Twitch's mom and siblings feel. I mean, hearing such tea for the first time with different strangers on the internet about your family member is quite diabolical. And that's not all. Allison also narrated how she and one of her friends had found out about his addiction. According to her, they were going through the closest while looking for an outfit for Twitch to wear for his funeral, and that was when she found different kinds of hidden in different shoeboxes. Now, I don't know why Allison didn't think to share all these private deets with Twitch's family first, or even just his mother, because if she really loved Twitch, then she wouldn't have exposed him like that for her own personal gains. But let's just take a pause and imagine this whole mess for a moment. Allison had been living with Twitch for 9 years, and within those 9 years, they seemed pretty close, at least when the camera was turned on, so how could she claim that she didn't know all of this? And then suddenly, she comes out of nowhere after she's long moved on from their home, moved on from his family, and even moved on from his memory by moving on with another man which she made known to the public just a year after Twitch's death, and then she's out here with a book telling the world that he was a junkie.
Appearing to debut a new romance, but, it has been a year and a half, so people are kind of wondering, is it too soon? How do you move on? I mean, it's just got to be such a weird situation to be in.
Yeah.
Now, the whole internet wasn't buying her story because the dots weren't adding up at all. And when you look at things from a tunnel vision, if Twitch was really an addict like Allison claimed, then why did the autopsy report of his death say he had zero trace of and alcohol in his system? And why did almost everyone in Twitch's family, from his siblings to his cousins and to his friends, deny these allegations? And lastly, why was it Ellen DeGeneres, who was more of a friend to Twitch, that mourned him more publicly than Allison did? During the 1-year anniversary that Twitch passed on, Ellen made a video sharing her most memorable moments with Twitch and talked about how he was such a light and how it was still a shock to her that Twitch passed the way he did. But during those times, Allison had already moved on faster than the speed of light with her new man, which was so heartbreaking. Now, of course, no one is saying people can't move on from their late partners, but why not just do it respectfully? Now, after Twitch's death, there were people like Todrick Hall, who was a former American Idol contestant that dropped a bombshell accusing Ellen DeGeneres for having some fault in how Twitch ended. According to him, so much pressure was being mounted on Twitch around the time he passed, as that was also the period Ellen's career was almost going down in flames after several racist allegations were levied against her by some of her employees. And being Ellen's right-hand man, Twitch wasn't spared from all that backlash, and a lot of people questioned Twitch for remaining with Ellen considering everything she had allegedly put her workers through. So with that, Todrick alleged that the whole situation contributed to Twitch ending his own life. But a lot of fans didn't buy that story because more fingers than one were already pointing at Allison for acting really shady. And going back to the addiction allegations that Allison made against Twitch recently, Twitch's cousin Elle had a message for Allison on X, formerly known as Twitter, and it read, "Talking about someone's substance abuse issues when you have your own is a choice, but all right." From this, it's clear that Allison was also using likely just as frequently as Twitch, though the frequency isn't really what matters now. But here's the thing, if Allison was so eager to sell a book by exposing someone else's struggles, then maybe she should have started from hers instead of going so low and exploiting a dead man who can no longer defend himself or speak his truth. But what do you guys think about this whole mess? Do you all think there's more to things than Allison is telling the public, or do y'all think she's just trying to cash out by making up stories?
Do let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below.